All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Video Game Collectors Podcast. This is episode number 5. My name is Matt Rose, and with me today is our co-host,
Josh Byerly.
And we also have a special guest today, one of our close friends for quite a few years, been about 12 years, at least for me personally, and that is Robin Mihara. Would you like to say hello?
Hi there. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys again.
And he is our distinguished first guest on the show.
Right.
Hopefully not the last, but at least the first. And if you guys are video game collectors and you don't know Robin, I'm sure you can find his story so we don't have him bored to tears telling his original story over and over. He can touch on it, but
I'm really sick of hearing about how he won the Gamecube tournament. But it's just all over the internet, and I am tired to death of it. So we won't talk about the Capcom tournament that Robin won and destroyed people in.
But he is quite prestigious in the video game world, having finished third in the one and only that matters to most people, Nintendo World Championships. So we welcome Robin and glad to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny how those contests were pretty great, but they were kind of small, and it's bizarre to have something happen in your childhood, and then as the world changes and esports is like selling out 60,000 seat, stadiums and stuff, somehow my past changes. It becomes like a big deal that Thor and I won these things. When I think he said he had been recognized a few times in the streets, but I think like in 50 years, maybe Thor will be like, George Mikan or something.
He's Joe Thorpe, you mean?
What's that?
Joe Thorpe, right?
I don't know who that is. I'm thinking basketball. George Mikan he was the greatest before anybody cared about basketball.
It's like the Heisman dude, right? Isn't that Joe Thorpe? The
Heisman
Trophy guy? Yeah, the original all-athlete dude.
Makes sense. Somebody that made no money, but just dominated.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for having me on. Thank you for not making me tell the story again. I don't even know if I'm telling it factually anymore. I'm 43 and
you just make up.
Yeah, you can just make it up. You can just change all of the facts, and everybody will
got one.
Wait, second. Is that a Kevin Duckworth glass you're drinking out
of? Jerome Kersey,
Jerome Kersey. Oh,
man,
died of a blood clot, Josh, in his leg from not walking. And
luckily, I walk still.
On the plan,
yeah.
Very sad.
I don't have a blood clot in my leg. So.
But definitely one of the stories we wanted to introduce people to, especially with Robin, is, he is not just a legend in the video game world, but he is also a collector and a big collector. And he's been a big part of my collecting as well as Josh's. And that's why we want him on the show. And so he can share some of his collecting stories and maybe even, a lot of ours together. I know we have different collecting adventures together between the three of us. And Josh mentioned in the last podcast, also part of our mini Nintendo Age get-together at the Goonies Festival as well, many years ago.
Right. That was a good time. I think I drank a little too much and ended up on the back seat of Josh's car, passed out.
You did sleep the whole way home, dude. Yeah, as a little Corolla, man. I don't know what I wanted to add there, Matt. Sorry, I kept interrupting you. I think another thing that maybe a lot of people don't know is that Robin, maybe they do know. He really spearheaded the original classic Tetris World Championship with the movie. Him and Adam Cornelius and Vince, Uncle Tust. They did this great movie, and what is that? The Ecstasy of Order, and I don't think enough people talk about it, but the movie, I was fortunate enough to work on it with them and got paid a per diem and got to drink every night with Robin and hang out. So it was a really cool time in 2010 and a time I'll never forget, and built a really good relationship and friendship with him through it. So go check out that movie. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere.
Did you remember that Matt co-produced it?
I didn't, because he didn't come down to LA and hang out with me. So.
Yeah, I think he came
didn't get to wake up on the beach in Laguna with me that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if I could point out, I think, Josh, you were one of the worst assistants that we've ever had.
Thank you.
When we met Vince in Vegas, you guys went out drinking like crazy, and then in the morning you fell asleep holding a microphone while I was talking to Brian.
I was under a table at Classic Gaming Expo.
And then he was passed out. And then another time I remember I needed to take a drive, I think to fix the trophy that Jonas ended up winning. Rest in peace, Jonas. And you were playing Super Mario 3 and just got like hypnotized and just refused to come with me. The only reason you were there was to help me out, and you were like, "No, sorry." You're playing Super Mario 3. You played for like 5 hours, and I was just like, "Come on, dude, we're working."
I was trying to show you I could beat the game without dying, but nobody believed me.
You were really good. I have to say, you're probably like the second best.
Second best Mario.
So I'm pretty darn good. I think.
Yeah.
What's that kid's name? Mog was pretty good.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. He was good. Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
A lot of good memories.
You had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did. You had a lot of fun, right? We all had a lot of fun.
I was really stressed. Like, the reason I kind of gave up the contest as far as producing it, I just wanted to compete and have fun. It's because of how stressed I was that first year. Like, I wasn't sleeping, and I just hated my life. I'm glad it worked out, thank goodness, but it was too much.
I know we're just kind of touching on that, but how did the whole Tetris movie come about, Robin? Maybe you could kind of tell us that, because I don't know why that even spaced that whole adventure, but that was so much fun.
Yeah, there's a few things that happened around the same time. One, I had found Trey. Remember Trey, who also co-produced?
Yep.
Trailer Swift. Yeah. I love his name on
Trey Harrison. He had got an 800,000 in Tetris, and it was the best game I had ever seen in my life. And I messaged him on YouTube because he said that he fell in love with Tetris for the Nintendo World Championships. And I was like, dude, you are the best player I've ever seen. And but I'd never heard of you because he wasn't a finalist. And he's like, yeah, I got really good. I was friends with Thor, got really good, but I never could win a city. If you think I'm good, you have to see this guy Jonas. And I'd never heard of Jonas. I hadn't heard of Harry Hahn either. And Trey actually was talking to me about it would be cool if we could get Thor and Jonas to play. And I reached out I just met Thor on MySpace, and I reached out to Jonas and was like, you guys need to play against each other and on this keyboard version, this like silly version. I think it was called Blockles, which wasn't even real Tetris. It was like, I think it was 12 dots wide instead of 10, so it was totally different. And then around the same time, I held an NWC contest at my first PRGE, Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and I met Adam, who was shooting a little short film on Harry Hahn, who he thought was the best player because Harry was the first to max out on tape. Honestly, Jonas was better, but Harry looked like he was the first to do it.
Let me interrupt you really quick, Robin. Is that where we first met? Was that the one at the Embassy Suites where I had some set up?
I met you, Matt, and Dane.
Yeah, I remember
at the same time. I know I met you and Dane at the exact same time, and maybe I met Matt later that day.
It was at the same event. Which is
PRG 2009.
Crazy. And then we also met Eric at the same time. So
Matt Benihana, I think that was the first time I met him.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. That was like the coming out party, the Nintendo H folks was 2009, I guess. And then that James Todd came up from Australia. He was at that show, and
that's right. Yeah,
that was everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, man, that was a good show. Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, so the funny thing, this has been documented a little bit, but is that Adam was doing this short, and I kind of convinced him that he should scrap his project to do a feature-length movie, finding the best player instead of just doing a short on the guy who I didn't even think was the best player, Harry. Harry's a great player, but he wasn't as good as Jonas. And I convinced him, but the funny thing about all that is that I was very stressed for this tiny contest I was holding at PRGE, just like 3 monitors. And I had taken like 6 Dexedrine for my ADD, when you normally take like 1. I was just like yacked out of my mind. And I don't even remember talking to Adam. The next day, Adam writes me an email and is like, you know what, you're right. I'm going to shoot a feature-length film. You're going to be my star. Let's raise some money. And I kind of remembered talking to him about it, but I honestly didn't. So the whole movie started like when I was just totally high on ADD meds. I don't know if anybody's taken it, but it's like it makes you overconfident, and I guess it makes you creative. But yeah, had I not done that, never would have happened.
How many milligrams was it?
Like 5 or 6 5-milligram pills. I used to take a lot.
Jesus, Robin.
I've never.
Makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah. I haven't taken a single pill for 6.5 years.
Good for you. I haven't heard that story ever.
Yeah.
And I was even part of the movie, so I didn't know that. So that's awesome.
I remember after setting up at the show, going over to Robin's house for the first time, and who was the dude that was there with you? Was it his name was Nick?
Oh, Nick Whitelist. He was a finalist and like a top 7 player. Yeah,
that was totally random. I met your family, and I met your daughter. She was just a little baby at the time. But that was wild thinking back at that.
Wow, has it been that long?
It's been a long time. Embassy Suite shows were pretty sweet. No pun intended.
But actually, that story continues on, and it even gets better. I mean, I don't even know if we want to touch on it here, but I'm just having flashes of how the players slowly came into that movie. And for whoever's watching, if you haven't seen Ecstasy of Order, I've even shown it to family members who are not into video games, and they enjoyed it. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. It's a good flick.
Was I really that bad, Robin? Was I really a bad production assistant? I mean, I did photography for the film. I thought I was decent. I got to drive Kelly Fluin around, in Vince's ring.
We didn't pay you enough. Let's put it that way. We should have paid you more than you. I think if we paid you more, you would have taken it more seriously. There was a lot of sleeping.
Dude, it was one of the funnest times of my life. I'm not kidding. We were gone for like a month just driving.
It's a long time.
It was a good time. Yeah.
13 days.
I didn't think I was that bad, but that's okay.
I just found a bunch of physical photos. I should send some to you.
I saved all the photos, and I didn't send you every one of them, so I have all the good ones. So I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. So I think I gave my camera card, actual physical camera card, to Adam at the end of the whole thing, or I drove it up to you guys. I can't remember, but I actually don't have any of the photos from the shoot, but I would love some.
Do either, I'm sure Robin probably does, but Josh, do you have the director's cut of the movie?
I don't have a copy of the movie. That was in my contract I signed for $600 per diem, or $600 pay and daily per diem to get a copy of the movie. I never got one, so I guess I will text Adam later. That's fine.
Adam just found a box, like the last box of DVDs. So that
I deserve that whole box at this point to just.
Yeah, get one graded.
There is something collectible about that. What can I say?
There's a Y-fold variant and a shrink wrap variant, just so you know.
Yeah, really? Where did you guys get them pressed?
I
Who did the
I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff.
Life will be that shit crazy. Did you guys have a security code?
Yeah, is there a security seal on the bottom? Or?
No, as far as I
Anything
know.
like that?
Mine's got a loose disc.
Oh, that was fun. Anyway, what happened after the movie? Tell me about that, because I pieced out. I was like, "See you later, guys. I'm done with this shit. I made $600. I'm good."
You know, after you flew home,
mm-hmm.
Just a really long drive home. You stopped by Dana's house to say goodbye to them, and I think she could tell we were tired and was like, "You should just sleep here and then drive tomorrow." And we didn't. And we ended up driving that big, nasty white van. I think Adam named it Moses. We drove that until I was falling asleep at the wheel. We had to get just a horrible motel somewhere, and we made it.
Got stopped at a hotel in Corning, California. Got some nice pancakes in the morning, or waffles on the flip machines. Yeah, that's my type of hotel.
Yeah, that was. Right. It seems like a lifetime ago. 11 years.
It seems like a long time ago. It wasn't that long.
And for those who don't know, and who might not know, who might be watching or might watch this years down the road, this movie is what has spurred on the Tetris World Championships now. That's what came out of this movie. That's where it all started. So I guess we can all come back to Adam and Robin and say thank you for today's Tetris World Championships that you now see on ESPN.
And Vince, right? Vince has had a
and
big
Vince was a miss. And then
I'm sure there's
Trey
many other people as well, but these are the names that I know.
Trey came in, started taking the audio visual to the next level, and yeah, there's a lot more hands than that, but this is some of the backstory.
Yeah, you know, the one I don't really know much about is the second one you guys held down in California in 2011. Was that 2011? I know that it happened. I just wasn't a part of it. I was like, I'm not going to drive down to California for this. So I suck at Tetris, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, that was Vince. Vince was completely in control of that, and he lost money. He booked, I think it was USC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't know it was spring break or something. So there was nobody on the campus. Everything was really expensive. I remember specifically they charged him $600 to turn off the sprinklers.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Hank came in, who, you know, the co-founder of the Tetris company, and he was not happy, and nobody was there. I ended up doing really well. I came in fourth or something. But yeah, there's very little record of it. Chris Tang's little brother, Michael Tang, took some video, so we have a little bit of shaky video. Oh, and the technology was terrible. Every single contest I've been a part of, something fails in the technology, and it's terrifying. That year, we had some funky splitter, or no, we had an expensive splitter to turn analog into digital or something, and it worked for a while, and then on the screen, the Tetris piece would vanish, and you'd see this weird ghosting, and then you just see it below. It was so frustrating. So, yeah, everything was great. And it was almost over after that year, honestly.
Does Alex Kerr still come to the Tetris tournaments?
He does. I think he's a father now. I know he's married.
That dude is super nice. I like that guy.
Yeah, he was great. He was like super genius.
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody that was in, especially in the original, was super nice.
Yeah.
At least Jonas was overly nice. I mean, you could just tell meeting him, he was just such a down to earth dude.
Yeah.
What about the Jessie girl? Is she around?
She showed up for a little bit. She came to year 2 and didn't qualify. I think she came in 8th or 9th or 10th out of top 8. And then I want to say she came to Portland once. Yeah, no, she definitely came once. I remember her at my house. But she just kind of slowly fell off. I think a lot of us improved, and maybe she just wasn't into putting hours and hours in.
Yeah, she was nice. Her and her husband or partner, they were good people.
They're cool. I wish them well.
Mm-hmm.
She bought. Do you remember when I sold a signed, kind of as a joke, a signed Tetris? I think you had me sign it, maybe.
Yeah, it was the Tetris computer game, the Spectrum Holobyte.
Yeah, she won that.
Yeah, I remember that.
$160 or something.
That was cool. Speaking of that, I have a bunch of classic Tetris World Championship lore that I collected from going on that shoot in 2010. I had a bunch of the original competitors sign a cartridge. I don't think I had you sign it though.
Yeah.
$50. And then I kept all the scorecards that when I was keeping track of the people qualifying. So you guys had the nice little scorecards made up, and I kept a handful of those that were signed by the qualifiers. So, I mean, I got a bunch of stuff, crap like that, laying around. But that's it was fun, man. I really had a great time doing that.
Good.
Yeah, and that it premiered at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, right? Wasn't that the first time it showed?
The first time it ever showed was Austin. The Austin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But that was our Portland premiere, and that was actually incredible. Like I had 50 friends from middle school and high school show up that I never hang out with or anything. Like it was just fun. Felt like it was a dream.
The Hollywood Theater.
And it played like a comedy. Like Ben Mullen was just, I mean, Ben and Thor really just took that movie to the next level. Ben was hilarious, and then Thor gave the human aspect. And
I love Ben. I like seeing the guy in Portland every year.
Ben's great.
Mm-hmm. And then, Josh, were you at the pre-screening, the very first cut that we had at John Hancock's?
No.
Robin, you remember that?
Nope.
I just remember that it happened
2 days ago.
Yeah.
It was a long movie. He kept pausing it because he wanted to take breaks, and I was like, well, part of this is you want to see what's boring, so you can't pause it because you can't ask somebody to watch the 4-hour cut. I think Adam used to call it the Dune cut.
The Dune cut. The non-Jarowski cut of Dune.
I just remember at least the showing here in Oregon when we did it at the Hollywood Theater, and you guys brought up all of us, all the producers, all of the cast, and it was just standing ovation. Like everybody, the energy in there was incredible.
Yeah, I worked on that movie. You didn't bring me up, so.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I sat there and I took it from you. Like, this is a thing in the past. It's okay. It's fine.
It was awesome.
I know where I stand in this friendship. So.
It was awesome. I sucked in all of the energy you would have gotten. So
that's okay.
Thanks.
That's fine.
Those are good times. I almost darn near forgot about that movie. Makes me feel old. But that was.
You forgot about that movie.
I'm
curious. I'm curious now that we're all talking about this. Sorry, this has gone way off collecting, but
doesn't matter.
What was the influence for you guys to do this as a feature after the super successful King of Kong? I mean, was it like, yo, we're going to make another great video game documentary and it's going to be better than King of Kong and we're just going to dominate with this? Was there anything in your mind like thinking that they could have that sort of success behind it?
No. I mean, King of Kong was a big influence, and I had seen it and thought it was like a perfect documentary. I knew we could never beat somebody like Billy Mitchell.
Yeah.
And it was, as nice as everybody was in the contest, it probably would have helped if somebody was egotistical jerk like Billy. I was just watching.
Which character would have that been in the movie?
The closest was Harry. Harry was a little bit.
What about Mabuko? He was a little.
He didn't get much screen time. Yeah. We didn't even know who he was. He just showed up. He donated some money, but he came and just kind of surprised everybody with the third place.
You know, I think the actual they did a screening in New York City, right? And Matt Bucco put it on.
Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar.
I think that was actually before the Portland screening.
Okay.
And my sister went to it.
Oh, cool.
So wow. I should ask her about it, but I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Yep. I never made $1. Put about 2.5, 3 years into that movie. Never didn't make a single dollar.
It was for the love, for the memories.
Yep. Absolutely.
Was it for the love and memories?
I mean, there's a whole story on just. I mean, Thor was even a last piece in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even know that he was gonna be a part of it. That came down to like the last day or so. You guys were literally leaving, trying to get him to go.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, because there's that scene where I'm talking with him on the phone and finally getting him there. And
he just shows up in Laguna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's right. Who was that dude we stayed with down there? That guy was super nice. One of Adam's friends.
Bob Bellarue, who was the sound guy.
And he had that tattoo on his arm, and it was just the Target logo. And he's like, everybody thinks it's a Target logo, but it's just a Target on my arm. And I was like, oh man, I like this guy. And then he gave me a No Means No LP out of his parents' garage or something. It was pretty cool. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a really cool dude.
I liked that guy a lot.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to get you down the Tetris path, but we can move into collecting.
That has nothing to do with Robin's past in the Nintendo World Championship. So that was completely different story Robin has never told right there. So
I thought it was awesome. I mean, I think a lot of people will appreciate kind of seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff that I know Adam was intending to do a slight behind the scenes, extras in the movie. I don't know if he ever put that in there.
Yeah. No, another question. Would you say that this was the point that launched the career of Pat the NES Punk?
No.
Oh, come on.
I think Pat was pretty famous.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Pat got upset because Pat and I have had some kind of accidental conflicts, but when Vince and Pat were close and Vince asked him to be on, and I didn't know who he was. I had heard the name Pat the Punk from Nintendo Age, but I didn't know he had a channel. Like, I honestly was so green, I didn't even know about YouTube.
YouTube, that's 2010, man. Nobody was on there.
Yeah, so I had Kerry Lee Torok to be the announcer, because he was the announcer for the NWC. He was a pro, and he was like still doing stuff. He was doing some contest in Dubai like the week before or something. Mm-hmm. And like a true pro. Plus, he was the announcer for those video game TV shows when we were kids, producer and announcer. Like he would have been perfect because this was all kind of an NWC sort of tribute in a way.
Yeah.
And we got Terry to say yes, and I guess Pat got upset because I sent out this email that, he was my first choice and blah, blah, blah. And Pat was like, not happy that I was announcing that I didn't want, but I honestly didn't even know who he was. And then he came, and I don't know. I mean, he did an okay job. Him and Chris Tan. It was their first time. They didn't have any experience.
No, I thought it was actually really good.
Good. Yeah.
That was the first time I think I met Pat, and then he came up to Portland a couple times, and I've always enjoyed my interactions with Pat. So after that, that's where I did meet him, and it was fun. So
yeah. But I think I wouldn't say that. I don't even think the movie helped him. I mean,
I was just impressed because it was really the first time that I had met him, and at the time YouTube wasn't much of anything. So
right, yeah, I just feel like he's super famous, and we were kind of dinosaurs trying to have a DVD. Like the reason I didn't make any money is because we didn't know what the hell was going on with social media and
that's okay. Nobody did.
Kickstarting and things like that.
Shit. You think back just a little over 10 years, people didn't have smartphones. They had Blackberries. They had Nokias and LGs that flipped up, and you could type in numbers and you could download ringtones that were $2.99 and parts of songs and shit. So technology has changed quickly, and I think we often forget where we're at with it. In 2012, I had a phone. It was an LG. I didn't have a smartphone. I had an LG that slid up, and it played Notorious B.I.G. as my ringtone. That was it. So not a lot has changed. My phone still plays Notorious B.I.G. when it rings. So
cool. Hypnotize?
No, Big Papa.
Shut up.
You got a gun up in your face, please don't shoot up the place.
Fun fact. I'm writing that down.
Yeah. I like Biggie. I don't know.
He's great.
So,
One of the 2 album wonders.
so Robin, tell us, getting into collecting and away from some of these fun memories. What do you like to collect? What do you collect? What's your hot button? Where'd you start? Where do you? I know you're really big into PS1, PS2.
PS2
Yeah.
was a one for me. Only because, well, there were a couple of reasons. One, I could afford it.
Yep.
Back then, you could get nice Kingdom Hearts for $50, God of War's $80, like first prints. And 2, I had not gamed at all. And then I played a few games for PS2 out of the blue, and Shadow of the Colossus blew me away. God of War 2 was just, I don't know if you played that, but you fight a statue in the first level, and then for forever, and then you go into the statue and have to like kill it from the heart. Like, it was the most incredible thing. The second level, you're in hell and have to climb your way out. Like, that was the most amazing game I'd ever played. So there was enough time off where I think I jumped from Super Nintendo to God of War 2, and I was just like, oh my god, what's happened? Since then, I think it's kind of, I don't know, plateaued. But so yeah, PS2 was cool. It's funny, I talked to one guy who was selling me some stuff, and he basically just was my guru. I don't even remember his name, but he made me this list of games I needed to get. And the 2 that were the grails, according to him, were Zone of the Enders and Metal Gear 2 Substance, which is the blue one. Excuse me. And so those were just my grails because he told me. He made me a list of like 20 or 30 games. And then I met this guy, Doug, who's been a friend forever. And he had 3 grails that he considered the hardest to find, which were completely different. It was MotoGP, Wizardry, and I think either the Jango Fett version of Star Wars, or maybe it was Battle Assault 3. Something was really hard to find. And I was asking him how much he wanted for them, and he just sent them to me for free.
Wow.
The 3 grails, according to him. He's a big time collector. Call him a hoarder, I guess, of sealed PS2. He's the guy that he was the first person to get the PS2 collection, period, and he did it sealed.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of games. How many games is that?
Over a couple thousand. I don't know.
Oof.
I think it actually might have increased since he thought he did it. He found some more variants or something. But
so he did variants as well.
Yeah, he's got like so much stuff you would not believe it. But I really wanted to start with Black Box, and I was actually kind of the first guy to collect sealed. I wanted to collect sealed because I thought there was something cool about it never being opened, and there were a lot of black boxes that were beat up, like VGA 60s that were like $200 to $500, and I was buying them all. And no one else wanted them. Like Popeye, I had Popeye, Wild Gunman, just everything. I don't think I had any of the Donkey Kongs, but I think I ended up getting 15, and I didn't have a job. Like, not sure how I got my money, but I was just grabbing these things, and then slowly Black Box became something that everybody wanted. I know that like the Brontes and the Blarkeys of the world were going for mint Black Box, but those just rarely, showed up ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And around the same time, Dove was selling, and Dove was somebody who bought warehouses and found pallets of NES games, I think in Canada. Yeah, but they were all just USA, NTSC. And by the time I started looking, he had sold like a bunch of Ice Climbers and Hogan's Alleys. And I heard a story that the first Hogan's went for $800, which was a ton for a Hogan's back then. And then by the time he was done, they were going for like 120 each. It was just like copy after copy. So while he was selling, I remember I got a Mint Mega Man 4 for 300. Yeah, it graded at 85 plus. I resold it for 650 and thought I'd made a killing. $15,000 game right now.
Let me just interject. When you say tons and tons of copies, I just remember, each week Dove would have auctions, and in our perspective, our little Nintendo age community at the time, it seemed like tons and tons, and it got to the point where like, oh man, there's another Hogan's Alley, or there's another 720, or all just this stuff. And he had case packs of Mega Man for Game Boy, I remember, as one of those titles.
Right. Yeah.
And they were like $75, if I recall.
Yeah.
They, in our perspective, we got one, we were done. We weren't like, I need to get 7 of these.
No.
I need to get, I need to buy every case pack he has. That wasn't a mentality back then.
No.
It was get one, go to the next title, sort of thing. So I'm sure some people bought multiple copies. It wasn't like in my wheelhouse at the time to do that, because the stuff that you'd get from Dove was right out of the case. And he was really specific when he would list it and there was damage. He'd say damaged on the game. These copies of Mario 2 from these case packs are damaged. So, God, Mario 2 case packs. Yeah, so I remember him doing the Mario arcades as well. I think he had a case pack of those. And they weren't I don't remember if they were nice or not, but it was a lot of stuff in our perspective. But if you look at it now, it's the copies that are out there that people are trading hands of, the Hogan's Alleys and the nice high grade Hogan's Alleys. So I think perspective is everything on where this stuff came from and where it's at right now. And it's nice high grade copies that are trading hands.
And for everybody that's curious, and I'm looking at you, comic book people, when I say tons, I would guess maybe 4 cases, like Bubble Bobble, he had a ton of those, and they were all gem mint. I'd say maybe 4 cases, 3 or 4, so that's 24.
24 copies.
That's what I mean by a lot of sealed. And I know in comics that's 24 is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be scared. The only things you have to really worry about are Donkey Kong 3 for Game Boy. There's only a few games where there's truly hundreds.
Win, lose, or draw.
Win, lose, or draw, Othello.
Win, lose, or fail.
Destination Earthstar.
What's that really good first-person shooter for 64? Perfect Dark?
Yeah, that's harder to find in high grade than people.
Oh, yeah, now I want it. I didn't want it because it was $10 for 15 years.
They were all bargain basement,
Well,
copies.
Mario 64. I saw them everywhere. I was like, I don't want this.
Nintendo age.
Nintendo 64.
I forget who was doing it, but it was just one week, and somebody popped in, and they had like 4 or 5 cases of. Maybe they even had more of the game we were just talking about, Nintendo 64. Dark.
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. And so I got 3 of those, and I still have those.
Nice.
I'll trade you a Minecraft for one, Matt.
I traded one already.
Okay.
And he's listening right now. So and I appreciate that. I still owe you to a degree, I feel.
To a degree.
To a degree. I do. I think the trade accidentally went more in my favor. But I'm sure it'll come back. And
in long term.
He's a super, super nice guy. Ghosty on me if he's out there. But I was just gonna say, I remember on Nintendo Age when Robin's saying he was buying the lower end black boxes. In his signature, he had, "I will buy any grade or any condition black box," and people would contact him, and that's how you got that soccer.
Yeah. What was the guy's name? Some angel linked me to soccer, and I was like, "You don't have this one yet, right?" And it was a crushed soccer for $200. Buy it now. And that was the game that Bronte needed. Bronte was down to 5, and soccer was one of them.
Yep.
So I got it, and then I wrote Bronte, who was a close friend, and I was like, look what I got. And Bronte is such a mint freak. He was like, I think he thought it was worth between 1 and 2,000. And if anybody knows me, they know my ideas of my games are about 10 times higher than reality. So I was like, I'm really sorry, dude. I know you need this, but I think I could get 5 figures for it. And I did. I got 11 grand. Somebody paid over 11 months.
In 2010-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the time Omar came around, I don't know if you want to get into that.
We can talk about Omar.
He still hadn't paid it. And I was tempted. I didn't do it, but I was tempted to sell it for 50,000 to Omar. But
yeah.
I kept my word.
You have a conscience, so you didn't do that.
Right.
So
you're welcome, Gary.
Yeah, he's super nice guy, by the way. Super nice guy. I recently talked to him, and still a super nice guy. Overly nice. Gary. Gary.
You talked to Omar?
No. No, Gary.
Gary?
I have to talk to Gary in person. I've never met him, or I don't even know what he looks like.
I don't even know who you guys are talking about.
Gold Level Games.
Oh, I remember that name on eBay.
You need to contact him, Josh, because you want to know where the nice sealed stuff is.
I know where the nice sealed stuff is. It's in my basement, fool.
Not for long. He's pulling new cars every day.
Yeah.
But
so to continue, I just started with Black Box. And just sealed in general. Back then, the Grail was Dragon Warrior 2, Kid Icarus, and Math. Those were kind of the 3 that I felt like all franchises, all super obscure. It's funny how I think in general sequels were more sought after than the first.
Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Ninja Gaiden 3 over 1. Bomberman 2 over 1.
Yeah, I think a lot of that came down to the relative rarity in comparison to the first copy or second copy sequel of the game. And we've seen that adjustment in what people are looking at today. They're like, I want to get the first Ninja Gaiden, not the third one, or I want to pick up Bomberman 1, not Bomberman 2. And we're like, what the hell's going on? Bomberman 2 is insane. So I get that perspective, though. I just don't necessarily follow that guideline as a collector. Right. But at the same time, it makes me like, shit. I didn't pick up a Mega Man 1 ever. I never picked up a Ninja Gaiden 1 until recently. Why didn't I pick up these games? Mega Man 1 was always hard to get. Don't get me wrong, but people are thinking outside of the box. They're like, oh no, Mega Man 5 is the hard one to get. I'll get that over number 1. Yeah. So
mistakes.
I remember. Didn't you have a copy of Little Samson, Robin?
Yeah, sealed. It was a 70. I think it had some bad cellophane issue, but the box was really nice.
I remember that.
I got that, Panic, Metal Storm, Kari 3, I think Lone Ranger, all from Atwood. Those were, me and Tom Curtin bought 10 games, and then we had an auction. We did okay, you go first. He went Snow Brothers, I went Samson. He went Rescue Rangers 2, I went Panic. I was totally happy with all my choices.
Wow, I would have been happy with those choices too over his.
Yeah.
What did you pick up? You had a really low grade Winter Games at one point, and at that time it was like the third known H-Theme copy of the game.
Yeah, I don't think it was really low grade, but it was like an 80 plus or something. Nice box. I still have it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, but there's I've got that. I've got Pro Sports Hockey, which I've never seen one. I think Bronte must have owned one at one point, but
why did you say that title?
Nobody's even asking about those.
Well, I've been looking for Pro Sport Hockey for
that's hard to find CIB
years, and I have not seen one.
I love sealed games that are hard to find CIB or really expensive CIB.
I agree.
It's huge about it to me.
My favorite sleeper that you turned me on to of all time is Motor City Patrol.
Yeah.
Never gets the love it gets or deserves.
You mean to play?
No, to find sealed.
Who plays these things? You crazy?
But it is the framework. Motor City Patrol is the framework for Grand Theft Auto. You look at the game and the gameplay. It's an interesting game and an interesting publisher. Matchbox made a game, and they had planned to go on to make a handful of other games, and they just got canned. But they did get Motor City Patrol out, and it's a later NES game, but it's hard to find sealed, and I appreciate the hell out of that game.
Speaking of which, this is a total side tangent, but you mentioned the other day, I think maybe it was in the chat group we're in, but you mentioned was it Dragon Spirit?
The Dragon Power.
Dragon Power, is that a true story about that? Yeah,
that's the Dragon Ball Z game that they reskinned for the US market.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a 88 game or 1988. It's one of the next round of Bandai games they did. They did their Muscle, Chubby, and that other stupid one, Stadium Events, Ninja Kid, Athletic World, and then I think in 88 or 89 they're doing Dragon Power right before they switch over to the oval seals on games. So it's an earlier game. It's not the easiest title to find sealed, but it really has never been gotten any love or any appreciation as a sealed copy. And the old collectors are going to be like, oh, that's just a common sealed NES game. And yeah, maybe Dove had some case packs, but it's a good, cool collectible game.
Yeah, but had they given the real name, Dragon Ball,
yeah,
it would have blown up.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole fear, that they're bringing this game over to the U.S. market, that it's just going to not perform well because nobody here knows Dragon Ball Z in 1988.
Oh man, yeah.
So it got the name of Dragon Power and a really
tanked,
really cool ninja on the front with a dragon.
And it tanked.
Yeah, it didn't do well.
Instead of blowing up like the cartoon, because the cartoon just went insane.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Tangent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Robin, what are you collecting now?
What I can afford.
So same spot as 12 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, well, now I have some money, but I can't. If I spend more than a couple $1,000s on a game, I'm like sweating bullets and feel like I need to sell something.
I'm the same way. That's why I buy $15 games. So
yeah, I still buy PS2, PS1. I just kind of try to predict what the next wave will be, I guess. Okay, I'll give you a tip. Well, the way my brain thinks is like Pokemon went nuts, but my son, he thought Yu-Gi-Oh was cooler. He's 18 now, so back then he was 10 or whatever. So I'm like, huh. And then I asked him about Dragon Ball Z because that started to go off a little bit in some of the earlier or later systems. And he was like, what was better is Naruto. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of that. And it's like I don't know any of this stuff. I don't watch anime. Mm-hmm. So I'm just grabbing stuff that's kind of related, I guess, to what has been going off. And I played so little video games as an adult that I kind of just, like, if something has a sequel, I'm like, well, it was good enough where somebody gave money for a sequel, so somebody's got some good memories of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, they made Blood Rain too, so that theory can be thrown out the window.
In general, I don't know. I've been collecting Turok for different systems, things that haven't gone off yet that I think have a chance to.
Yeah, I think Dragon Ball Z is a cool thing to pick up. The Game Boy Advance ones are pretty fun to find. The Legacy of Goku games are good games. They're Game Boy Advance games, and
those are already at least the Dragon Ball PS2 and whatnot are already skyrocketing.
Yeah, those PS2,
PS1, PS1 as well.
That fighting one, everybody's obsessed with it. I didn't even know it was a thing. Like disc onlys were like $70. I never got into those games, so I didn't have any skin in the game with them. So, I think that that's cool. The one that I think about that, all these other franchises are blowing up. I think about the Digimon franchise. It kind of ran as Pokemon's redhead stepchild, but it had a really good following in the game world, and the games are pretty fun. So I'm surprised to see that nobody's really hopped on that train yet. So we'll see. Oh, maybe they won't. I'm still buying a couple that I need.
Right.
So
I feel like I should buy just like 20 cases of Fortnite and call it good.
If you can find 20
I don't think you can
cases,
find 20 cases.
good luck.
I can't find one
version
of Fortnite.
They're gone now.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do PS4. That's just it's too close to me. It was hard for me to. I got a few Skyrims on PS2. Those are even tough, just because I don't trust the future of Y-fold games.
You PS3 Skyrim or
no PS?
PS2?
Oh, PS3. Oh, PS. Yeah, I buy the Xbox version. My bad.
Xbox 360.
360. Yeah. And those are hard to find.
Everybody's going after them. Nah, I don't know. The Morrowind stuff's not for me. I don't know. I like, if I'm going to pick that up, it's going to be Arena or the Battlesphere.
I really want a Morrowind for Xbox.
Okay.
When a new one's coming out for PS5, and when that comes out, I think Skyrim will go off.
Mm-hmm. When are they going to make the Skyrim movie?
Yeah.
When is that happening?
I don't know. What movies are on deck? I know that they were making a Zelda, and I think they canceled it. Heard Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, they had talked about doing a Borderlands movie, which would be interesting. I don't know if it's still going, but that is a cool game.
That was a good game. We played a lot of that.
I don't think it's not the easiest to find the non-Game of the Year version for 360. I don't know on PS3, but I've looked for I have one sealed for 360, and it took me a while to pick up. And it was, I was looking constantly, and I finally just bit the bullet and paid like $150 for a sealed one. But I enjoyed that game, and I don't think it gets the accolades yet. You see things like Gears of War, which is cool, but I get it. I guess people really enjoyed it. But a game like Borderlands, I think, is way better than a game like Gears of War. So, let's see.
I heard Mass Effect. Is Mass Effect great?
Mass Effect is cool.
I didn't get to that, but that's...
one game I always wanted from the limited edition sort of thing was that Dead Space limited edition.
Got a 95.
Yeah, that's just a cool limited edition. I really don't get behind those sort of games as a collectible, but Dead Space was just such a cool game.
I'll give you a reasonable price if you want to buy mine. Or trade me.
I've seen your prices, Robin. You want $1
million? He just told us he's 10x, so just start from there.
Hey, Dragon Warrior 2 is rare, so I don't discount that. I can't think of more than 4 or 5 sealed of that game. So
probably a little more.
Aren't you glad that I didn't buy your Halo now, Robin?
Yeah, I am. I don't know where that's going to end up, but it looks pretty net. I have no idea what it's going to regrade at either.
9.6.
Yeah.
Hopefully 9.6, A+, A++.
That's what you should trade me for it. You're the Halo guy.
I already have one. I don't need 2, which is why I didn't buy it in the first place, which I'm kicking myself for now, but yeah.
Listen to him. He's a literal angel. You see that halo over his head being so kind to you.
There is no halo in this room. Yeah.
Oh,
you got a lot of good stuff from me. You bought the Cold Final Fantasy, got the golf, which I got back.
Yeah.
What was something recent? Oh, Qualified Baseball Stars. Man, I don't have a. Oh, yeah, the other thing. Back to your question. I collect CIB now. Some parts of me feels like CIB is actually more cool. I don't know why. There's something about getting all the components mint, inserts, and opening it with a butter knife, and
It's because it is cooler.
Yeah, and if the flap is mint, you're just like, oh my god! Like you just want to. I want to display it with the flap open so that people can see there's not even any fraying. Like I don't know. Plus, I mean, the sad thing is you never play a mint cartridge, but it just seems a little harder, I guess, and it's more reasonable price-wise.
That's harder and more reasonable.
Was it Bronte back in the day, or Dan, that coined the phrase "monster boxing"? You remember?
He called it Frankenstein. He said,
Frankenstein.
I thought it first. Yeah, he called me Frankensteiner. That was him.
Who did?
Bronte. Do you remember when I had a Super Mario Brothers flat back circle seal that was in such horrible shape? I sent it to VGA and got an NS, a no seal, or no NG, a no grade. I was like, I just wanted to authenticate it. I don't care what the grade is. It's going to be like a 4 or 40.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of flack for it, but I think I bought it for $220 and sold it for $1,000.
It's because all the 7 sealed snobs would just turn their nose up to something in poor condition. So,
right.
But Robin thought different and started piecing together better parts on CIBs.
It's probably a $20,000 game right now.
You really started that. You do realize that.
A lot of it, yeah.
You started the whole idea of, I have a better manual over here, I'll stick it with this one. And right. I mean, I'm sure people did that over the years, but in the terms of the bumping your grade with a BGA sort of thing, right?
To this day, I don't even know if the BGA was factoring in all 3 pieces or where they got their grades. Because I had some beat up ones that went higher than I thought. They definitely had some. Here's a little sad knowledge: is that the earlier qualified stuff, they didn't care if the manual was beat.
Yeah. They started getting picky later though, because I know I sent a few in that had like just the tiniest crease, and they're like, this doesn't qualify. And I was like, right. Oh, wow, okay.
But if anybody's buying a qualified game for a significant amount of money, they should check the serial number and find out what date. And if it was early when qualified started, there's a good chance there's nothing great inside of it.
That's semi-true. I'd say that, there was only a couple people doing qualified at the time. If you know where the qualified game came from, I think it might be okay. But it
came from me. It's a crapshoot. I probably had 50 of them done.
Oh, dear.
I had all the black boxes and. Yeah, it was. But then once I bought a mint collection of just gorgeous CIBs, and I sent all of them in. Thought they were untouched, and they denied them all. So there was definitely like a day where they were like, okay, we can't let in all these other clearly played games.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
BGA was nice. Sorry, go ahead now.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I remember that day because I stopped sending in to qualify at that point. It was like 1 year of us doing that. And then, it was over.
I did give you some really cool qualified games at one point, Robin.
Yeah.
Which actually had a neat history to them. Matt and I were talking about them the other night. It was
tennis
and 10-yard fight. And they were matte sticker sealed.
The Gyromite and 10-yard fight. No.
I only remember the tennis because I ended up with it.
Yeah, it wasn't gyro.
I don't know. The 2 you gave me were Gyromite and 10-yard fight. I still have them. There was no tennis.
There was definitely a tennis.
I have the tennis that you had, but that's okay.
It was tennis. You're wrong.
We're old. It's okay.
You have the tennis that Josh had? Not one that I had.
Yeah, Josh gave it to you, and then I got it from you. I don't remember if I paid you or I traded you. And
I'm gonna.
And then I traded it for a Contra and some money, and then I sold that Contra like a moron for $600, and I'm gloating about it.
But anyways, regardless of if it was Gyromite, at least one of them that I gave to you was the 10-yard fight, and it came from the guy who played Flick in A Christmas Story.
Right.
Child actor, and he was selling off his games that he had gotten as a kid, and they were in there, and they were really beautiful matte sticker games, I remember. And that was the first time that I really started to recognize stickers on video games, is when I picked up those two. And VGA qualified them. So that was the beginning of Omar, if I recall.
Yeah. You gave them to me on my birthday because I was asking how much, and you were like, God, you keep bugging me. And you came over in my backyard and just handed it to me.
Yep.
And it wasn't Gyromite. But that's okay. You can have a false sense of reality.
Well, I have 2 games that are like your gifts, and those are what they are, but maybe somewhere they got mixed up.
I thought you said it's been 6 years since you last. How many milligrams? Sorry.
I might be this now. So,
oh dear. I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of fun going down memory lane and talking about this stuff, and seeing what we've collected over the years and why we collect it. I think a lot of it comes back to, a lot of us collect games, but we resell games too, mainly because it funds our obsessive compulsiveness of buying more video games. And I want to say that that's totally okay to do. So it's totally okay to do whatever the hell you want. So
I don't sell anything until my bills come up, and I need to. I have a $5,000 bill once a year that I don't always prepare for, and I'm just like, ugh, what can I sell to get $5,000 together? But I always regret it, and I always it's horrible. Like, I don't know. I'm totally emotionally invested in almost everything I buy, and I have a lot of games that are either sealed or really meant CIB, like hundreds and hundreds. But yeah, I don't sell. I don't know how you do it. I guess you just your eyes are in the future or something.
I grin and bear it. That's what I do.
I just sell doubles typically, and that's about it.
If I look back on and regretted every game I sold, then I would be so burned out and done with this shit.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think a lot of it is the thrill of just finding stuff. Everybody says a thrill of the hunt, but yeah, it's not so much a thrill of the hunt when you're just refreshing eBay 24/7. It's to me, it's more of the thrill of discovery of new variants, different packaging styles, understanding why the game's changed, and why UPC may have changed on a game, or why something came first before something else, or why something was recalled, or why they had to change something. That it's in the discovery of collecting that I find enjoyment, instead of just hoarding stuff. So,
like the guy down in California.
There are a lot of hoarders in California, Matt. Yeah.
No, the one we went to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that
was fun.
That's another story.
I have the NES, the hot seat, the chair that I still need to put together.
Wow.
You remember that it was all in pieces? I think there's 2 of them, and I need to get that out and see what I can get going on it. Maybe play a game of Afterburner in it.
You have some rare stuff that came out of that.
Yeah, I have that hands-free controller that there's like 2 documented, not the officially licensed hands-free, but the third-party one that you plug in a headphone jack as the controller port. It's really cool. But, with all that stuff, half of the battle goes, you buy the stuff, you sell the stuff you don't need, you keep the cool stuff you want to keep.
Yeah.
That's with anything when you buy a collection. So, at least for me.
Yeah. Can't wait till we can go to another show sometime. Going out in the wild and seeing anything will be nice.
Yeah.
Like you said, eBay, it's fun to a point. But getting out and meeting people and seeing people and finding stuff randomly in the wild, that's always the most fun for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's the way it is for me too. You know, like we talked the other night, I went to 2 thrift stores and I bought really stupid stuff, but it was the more than anything, it was just the fun of going out and looking for the stuff. So
and finding anything.
Finding anything, yeah.
Kind of like Robin, when you and I went to that wild goose chase. I don't know if you remember, where the guy who claimed he had all those halos way back in the day. He had cases of sealed halos, and we're like, oh, okay. So we're going to storage lockers that were
Still junk.
Robin's done. I think Robin has done this to every one of his friends, where he's put them onto a good idea that pans out not to be a good idea.
It was fun.
I didn't know that story, but Robin, do you remember the guy that was selling the Final Fantasy Square Enix versions that were not the Square Enix versions? They were greatest hits.
No, you just wanted Black Label.
Or whatever.
And he sent you 24 red labels and then never refunded you.
And he never refunded me.
Oh,
yeah.
That dude's name was Thomas.
Yep.
That guy is a total douchebag.
He had the audacity to like say aloha to me later, and I was like, "You stole from my friend. Like, don't."
He was drop shipping.
Hawaiian.
He didn't know what he was doing. He reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll connect with you." And I sent him a message. I'm like, "Hey, are you going to send me my $800 back?" And he did not respond and disconnected from me on LinkedIn. So, douchebag.
Lame.
Oh well.
Sometimes
you just lose $800.
Yeah, that was a lot of money back then too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nowadays, that's just like you cough and it comes out of your eyelids.
It's better than sneezing it out of my nose, I guess.
I'm very, very happy for you and the success you've been having. You've been killing it. It's awesome.
Thank you. I keep buying more games. I don't know if I'm actually getting it.
Either way.
It's an addiction, but it's a fun one.
Yeah, it's within reason, you know. At least I'm not shooting up heroin on the side of the road or something. So.
That's what I'm saying. Every time somebody, like a significant other, complains about me spending money, this is actually going to go up in value. You'd rather me be out bowling or, you know, like whatever guys spend their money on.
What a comparison.
Yeah, like just blowing money on like experience.
Addicted to bowling. I'm doing it until I get a 300.
Jeez. I once got 7 strikes in a row. That's as good as I've ever done.
That's going to be my comparison from here on. I'm going to make that note. I'm comparing gaming, collecting to bowling.
Or just anything that goes down, like cars or, you know, sneakerheads that actually wear their shoes. It just seems crazy to me. What the stuff
video game collectors who actually played our games.
Who open them and play them, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt and I opened some games the other night.
Oh yeah, that airs tomorrow morning, by the way.
Okay. Wonderful.
Which for people who are watching this will be like days ago.
That we should always say the date when we do these. I think that's kind of fun. What is today? The 25th?
25th. So the episode we recorded last night will air on the 26th, and then this will air on Sunday, so 28th.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else you can think of, Robin?
I think I'm going to start a store with my buddy Chris Tremieux.
Really?
Yeah, it's just online, but we want to be able to buy some collections and stuff. It's going to be Golden Coin Games.
Sweet.
He's putting together a website. We're trying to do a logo. We're just going to be available to buy out collections. I'm probably going to buy a truck or something.
Golden Coin Games, is that .com?
I believe so, yes.
I will put that in the description for people. So if they want to check that out, they can go down below and check it out.
Do you have a domain name purchase already?
Won't be live for a while, but
I'm going to go see if you guys have bought this website yet.
And then resell it to him.
Chris got it.
$10,000.
No, I just want one of my sticker seal games back that Robin doesn't appreciate or understand that he got from me. So it's okay.
I appreciate it.
What game's that?
Gyromite.
You know, if you know one thing about me, Robin, it's that if I sell something or give something away, I could give a shit what somebody does with that item once it's in their possession.
Do you even know?
I don't care.
Do you know the most amazing gift you gave me? It wasn't those.
Yeah, it was Wild Gunman sticker seal. So.
Ooh, really?
No.
Yeah.
What
it
do you?
It was a PAL sticker seal, one that VGA didn't slice open.
Oh,
It was a reseal.
I actually don't remember that. But you gave me the greatest gift that I've ever gotten. You don't remember.
What's that?
I'm going to see if he remembers. You got it from, I think, Dream.
Oh yeah, it was a Tailspin prototype.
Yeah. Dream was selling all these protos, and I was like, God, I wonder if this is the one that was in my contest, because the contest version of Tailspin had a completely different bonus round, and the scrolling worked differently. And I contacted Dream, and he's like, I'm sorry, you just missed it. And I was so upset, and then it turned out Josh bought it to give it to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's because you do cool things for your friends when they help you out with shit. So I would not have sold a single game to Omar if it wasn't for Robin and his positive outlook on doing it in a professional way, in a way that, you know, made sense for people and for him as a buyer. You know, it's too bad that he ended up jaded about everything. I mean, maybe he's not jaded. I don't know. He just kind of disappeared. But, you know, in doing it all, I really wanted to make sure when I was selling certain games to him that he was getting something that was a good game to get. You know, was he paying future prices? Yeah, he was paying a lot of money for stuff. But
he's made his money back over now.
You know, we sit here today and we think about the games that we sold him. I'm like, God damn it, I wish I had that Madden Championship Edition today. And I would probably pay what I sold it to him for. That's just the real world we're living in. 12 years down the road, 10 years down the road.
People believe that he owns the only Matt Super Mario Brothers, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
But
so.
There's no pictures.
No.
But people
Does it exist?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
I mean,
one day.
That game by itself will be worth more than the 2-3 million he spent.
Yeah.
I think. Someday.
It was just unfortunate that he ended up with, you know, stuff that I don't know. Maybe, what do I know anymore?
Yeah.
You know.
He made his money back. That's how I look at it. It's like,
I don't think he sold anything.
No, I'm just saying the value, even though back then he was, you know, from what I could see in our eyes, overpaying. Now he's well in the black.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is it would frustrate me when he would buy something like a Donkey Kong Land 2 Japanese Game Boy or something, you know, and ask questions. Be like, oh, is this worth $2,000? I'm like, no, it's not worth $2,000.
Yeah.
Something like that would frustrate me. But
you get that all the time. It's
I get that now with people, you know, and I'm going to say I wouldn't pay that for it, but I don't know what it's going to be worth in 6 weeks. So
6 weeks, not 6 years, not 6 years anymore. It's 6 weeks.
People with that kind of money also are just, I don't think they're necessarily operating in the same way we are. It's just, you have $3 million to kind of throw around without doing a lot of research. You got to be worth at least 15 or more million, and
maybe
you're really just doing things to make yourself like feel like you have meaning in life. I think more than like, is this mathematically because if he really cared, if the money was that important, he would have done more research than just asking us.
I mean, that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you on that, but you know, it comes back to me just feeling like I was doing the right thing by selling them certain games. So I don't know. I'm not trying to be a holier than thou type of person. It's just my.
I think some kid made $1 million off of them, selling them like PAL.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was like a teenager.
Not me. I was one of the first people to sell to him and meet him, and he was nice to me on eBay, and he got mine for just standard price. And then right after that, it just went ding, 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 ding. And that's actually when he met you, Robin. And then, yeah.
Okay, so listen to what he bought from me and the price, and tell me that I made a ton. He bought I think it was a 85 plus. No. It was a 90 plus GoldenEye.
Ooh.
And a 90 Ocarina of Time. And an 85 plus, that was the collector's edition, the one that everybody has. And an 85 plus first print Ocarina, which you never see. Mm-hmm. For 6,000.
Oh.
Man, you took advantage of him.
He's doing well.
I'm serious. In the day, you took advantage of him. That was a lot of money.
I don't know. I believed in GoldenEye way before anybody else. There was a lot of games where I swear to God,
that's a $300 to $500 game. In that year, you're selling that game.
Do you still have a GoldenEye?
No.
Ooh.
That was my only one.
Ooh.
But that $6,000 sale led to me talking to him, and then I ended up making bigger deals later.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget instances where they sell something and feel like they've undersold it, or they lost out on future money that they never had an opportunity to buy in the first place, because they take that money and they roll it into
more
a million different things that they make money on, if that's the game that they're playing. It's one thing to sell something to maximize your profit when you find a Mario in your aunt's attic or something, and this is the only game I'm selling and I don't know shit about what I'm doing in selling video games. That's one thing. Try to maximize your profit and move on because you're not in this space. But if you're, you're going to roll your money into other items, sometimes you've got to sell to dealers, and sometimes or other collectors at a deal. You just have to,
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. Everybody wants to make a buck, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And if you're too much of a gamer or pure collector and it's not fun anymore because you can't collect games, then I don't know what to say. Just figure it out. Go collect Nokia N-Gage and shut up.
Well, times change. We all want them to stay the same, but sometimes you have to come to the reality that, hey, you know what? Likelihood, things are going up, and you can either be okay with that or not. And
yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it. And whining won't make it better, but
the train stops wherever you want, hop off. But if you want to keep riding, you got to play the game. So,
and we all have to deal with it. It's not like, whatever.
I don't necessarily like buying sealed Sega Genesis games for $800. I mean, it's not a game I was ever in, but I'll do it now. But I roll with the punches when I sell something that I feel was underpriced at one point, and I bought it at a lower price, and I make a good amount of money on it. I'm going to buy stuff at a higher price in today's market. I just will, and my money won't go as far. And so by default, I'm buying PlayStation 4 shit. Stupidly.
What are you getting besides Fortnite?
I'm not buying Fortnite.
You
can't afford Fortnite. It's $500 and they're gone like that.
Yeah, he can't find a Fortnite to buy.
I'm buying this PS4. What did I buy tonight? Hold on a second. I'll tell you what I bought tonight. They're like $5. I'm like, it's okay. I'd buy this if I saw it at Goodwill.
Yeah, Matt, pull out your recent purchases.
What's that?
Pull out your recent purchases. Let's all look.
All right. I'll see what I bought today. You go first.
I got a sealed Turok for PS2, Jack 2 for PS2 that instead of it being greatest hits, it has the greatest hits sticker.
Good.
They would put over the black label.
Are you going to take the sticker off?
I don't know. I mean, if it got graded, it would be
It'd be noted as a black label,
Right.
the
Yeah.
greatest hits sticker variant. You know, I think that's a neat variant, and I think they're kind of interesting little subsets that people will do.
About a case of PlayStation 1 FIFA 2004, a case of them for $80.
Ooh.
For
still up there.
for PS1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have 3 cases right here.
Nintendo World Championships T-shirt.
Nice.
Ooh, you guys will be jealous of this. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but $150. That's not loading. I got a no-code, pretty nice CIB Hogan's. No codes are just impossible to find. Sometimes they're even rarer than sticker CIBs.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I picked up a first print Miss Pac-Man for Atari 2600.
Ooh.
Nice.
Really hard to find.
Those are
$45 right now.
wow. People kind of veered away from Atari for a bit there.
No, I was right place, right time.
Okay.
Buy it now, so.
Okay.
Lego Star Wars 2 for GameCube. I don't know why I bought that. I have one.
Your finger slipped?
It's $40 free shipping. So,
That's a good game, by the way.
yeah. I got tonight NBA Showdown for Super Nintendo, which is not an easy game to find. The predecessor to the NBA Live series. Great title. Looks pretty nice. It was like 400 Canadian dollars, so like $375 for the US. That's about it, and all this PS4 shit too that I'm not gonna go off and read. Oh, and I got an NBA Jam Tiger electronic LCD handheld sealed.
Ooh.
NBA Jam, but it's cool. You know, it's kind of funny.
I draw the line at things that Lana won't grade. Like, if I let it get too out of hand, it's just.
I'm like, oh, this thing is kind of like a video game. I'll buy it. You know,
Right.
I showed Matt this boxing glove I bought last night that had some sort of video game lore to it. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, okay, it's this thing, Matt. It was used for this, and it's really cool, and I have 2 of them.
It was pretty cool.
Like, okay.
I like stories.
Yeah. But that's what I bought.
Cool.
Did you buy anything, Matt?
Yeah, yeah. I button mash all the time. Sometimes I regret it. A lot of times I regret it. Let's see, what do I got? I got a pretty nice Grand Theft Auto 5. I kind of needed one of those. I got a
Which platform?
most of mine are Xbox.
So a 360 on that or an Xbox?
Yeah, 360.
Cool.
Guitar Hero. I did get one of those. Rock Band, because I loved playing that. I did sneak a Dragon Ball Z Budokai. I believe that's how you pronounce it. First version. The third one's just the one that goes crazy. But so I was pretty excited about that. And then I don't even know what it's worth, but I just wanted it because it was cool. Beavis and Butthead Sega Genesis.
I saw that on eBay.
Okay, I didn't outbid. Well, I couldn't outbid you. I've seen what you bid.
That's cool. I have a sealed copy of that for Genesis.
Okay.
I graded it at a 928 plus. It's really cool.
This won't get that grade for sure, but I thought it was such a sweet cover. I was like, I kind of want that. That's cool.
Was it from Je Play in Canada? Was that that dude?
I'd have to open it and look. I don't know.
Sure listed it.
Jeremy McGrath Supercross, and then
that's a fun game.
Yeah, and then I got a Gears of War sticker variant. So I didn't have one of these.
Borderlands is better.
I played both and I enjoyed both. So
I know I enjoyed Gears of War, but
a couple of my friends swore by Gears of War. Like we would be playing Halo and they'd be, no, we're gonna play Gears.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and that's just yeah. So those are just some of them.
This was a long talk.
It was a pretty good podcast.
Yeah.
It's fun stories, though.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do it again. We'll do part 2, maybe 3 or 4.
Should do an opening. Everybody get some heritage boxes and open them in front of the camera.
The funny thing is, we did that last night.
Oh, you did.
We literally opened games.
Yeah, we literally
opened the sealed games. The resealed games.
Yeah, it was painful in some cases.
Probably not going to do that. Were they?
No, we're gonna do one where we actually open some sealed games
That are legit, not suspected reseals. Yeah, we will do that.
Cool.
We should find one on the Wizards list. If you guys don't know, the Wizard _666 from Nintendo Age.
Mm-hmm.
He and another guy, I can't. It was a community effort. They would open factory sealed games and document what was in each one of them.
Yep.
And there's a list out there somewhere.
What he needs still.
Yeah, it'd be fun to kind of just find a game on there. I'm sure I probably have one. And just open it. I don't know. Maybe not.
I remember opening a couple of Halos back in the day, but now I really regret that.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, if there's something on his list that we have, I don't mind. But yeah, we could all open some games. They don't have to be super expensive or nothing. Or they can be, whatever.
Yeah. He opened a Panic restaurant, didn't he?
Oh.
Pretty sure he did. And he opened a gun knack. He opened some really stupid shit.
Stinger. Stinger.
Oh. All right. Looks like Robin's going to fall asleep. That's our sign. All right.
Great. Well, good talking to you guys.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Tune in.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it. Thanks everybody for listening. If you have any questions for any of us, leave them comments below. You can find us all on Instagram. Go check out whenever they get the website up, goldencoingames.com. Show them some love.
And go buy a copy of the Ecstasy of Order.
I don't know if it's still for sale, but pirate it. Tell people about
it. Did you say you don't have any hard copies anymore?
Adam just found a case.
They're coming to me because they're my copies I deserve. So.
Okay. Well, I need to buy one from him, so maybe I'll send him a message.
Yeah.
And grade it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Robin, for being here. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you all again soon.